So this week we're going to talk about apostrophes. Specifically, we're going to talk about using apostrophes with possessives. Okay? We have said that sometimes when you put an apostrophe s on a word, that sometimes what you're trying to say is something is or something was. You're trying to combine them, you're making a contraction. That's not always the case. Usually, when people use an apostrophe s, one of the things that they're trying to do is make something possessive. They're trying to show that something else belongs to whatever it might be. So we're going to talk about using apostrophes with possessives. But first, what are possessives? Possessives show ownership. That means that something belongs to them. So an example of a possession that you might have is like your shoes. The shoes belong to you. So if someone were to see them like laying around your house, they might say, "Oh, those are Ezekiel's shoes. Those are Violet's shoes." Another example might be something like your blankets, your blankets you have on your bed. They might say, "Oh, that's Noah's blanket," or that's Brianna's blanket. So if something belongs to you, you would use the possessive form of your name to show that it belongs to you. And they gave us an example here. If you want to show that a book belongs to the boy, so they're just kind of being general, they're using a pronoun instead, we would say the boy's book, show that that book belongs to the boy. Okay, so the reason why we use possessives is to make sentences shorter. For instance, if I wanted to say the coat belongs to the girl, I could just say the girl's coat. If I wrote it the other way, if I wrote the coat belongs to the girl, it would still be okay. It would just make it so that my sentences were a lot longer. I don't necessarily want that to happen. So I could just say the girl's coat. Another example would be the bone belongs to the dog. If I wrote that in a sentence, it's still okay, it's still correct, but to make my sentence a little bit shorter, to make it easier to understand, I would say the dog's bone. Same thing goes for the other examples. The pencil belongs to the teacher. If I want to make it shorter, easier to understand, I would say the teacher's pencil. The jump ropes belong to the students. Again, to make it shorter, easier to understand, I would say the student's jump rope. Now, I want you to notice, just like we noticed earlier, like we talked about earlier on our DLR, where they're putting these apostrophes. Some of the apostrophes go in front of the S. The girl's coat, the dog's bone, teacher's pen. Some of these apostrophes go after yes. Jump rope. Now it is important where you're putting the apostrophe. Just like we talked about on the DLR. If you put the apostrophe in front of the S, the apostrophe is like a wall. Okay? It shows you whatever's in front of the wall, that is who or what this object belongs to. So who does the coat belong to? In front of the apostrophe, it belongs to the girl. Who does the bone belong to? Look in front of the apostrophe. It belongs to the dog. Who does the pencil belong to? In front of the apostrophe. It belongs to teacher. Who does the jump rope belong to? It belongs to the students. So this is why it's important where you put your apostrophe. If you put it in front of the S, you're saying that the jump rope belongs to one student, only one student. Since they put it after the S, they're telling us that it belongs to students, more than one. So this is not just jump rope out. It belongs to one person, it belongs to all of the students. Like we saw in the DLR when we said boys' restroom. You put the apostrophe in front of the S, you're saying that the restroom belongs to only one boy. And that would be very unfortunate for all the other boys in the school. But if you put the apostrophe after the S, then it lets us know that all the boys could use that restroom. So it is important where you're putting your apostrophe. Okay? Tells us here there are 3 rules that lets you know how to make a possessive form of a word. Okay? So, number 1, if you're going to form or create a possessive from a singular noun, you add an apostrophe s. So remember, a noun is a person, a place, or a thing. Could also be an idea, like an emotion. Okay? So singular means that there's only one. So in the examples, like girl, dog, and teacher, those are singular. Only one girl. There's only one dog. There's only one teacher. Okay? So if it's singular, like cat, and the cat has a brush that belongs to them, you would say the cat's brush. The A-T apostrophe S. And I like how they put the apostrophe S in a different color, so it's a little easier to see. So if you write boys restroom, Bella, like B-O-Y apostrophe S, that means that the restroom belongs to only one boy. Because in front of, so I'll put it in the chat, I'll separate them. Okay? In front of that apostrophe, there's just the word boy. So you're saying that that restroom is for one boy and one boy alone. So again, that'd be very unfortunate for all the other boys in the school if there's only one boy that could use that restroom. They'd all have to go to the other restroom. They may be farther away. Now, if you write it like this, no, Bella, but that's because we're messing with our camera right now. If I put apostrophe after the S, then it's telling me that all of the boys can use the restroom, which again, much better, much more fair for everybody, that all the boys can use the same. Same thing would go for a girl's restroom. If I put girls and I put the apostrophe in front of the S, that means only one girl can use that restroom. All the other girls have to go find a different restroom. Again, that might be pretty unfortunate for all the other girls. If I put girls and I put the S in front of the apostrophe, that means that all the girls can use that restroom, which again, a lot better, a lot more fair for all the girls. So here, the cat's brush, if the brush is for that cat, like let's say it's your cat, your pet, that brush is for them. That doesn't mean that every single cat would get to use that brush. Like you wouldn't take that brush and then just go find a random cat and use your cat's brush on it. You don't know if that cat has fleas or is sick or anything like that, and you wouldn't want to get your cat sick or give it fleas or anything like that. So that brush belongs to that one cat, not all the cats. Now, unless you have more than one cat, if you own, 2 or 3 or 4 cats, then you might have one brush for all of them because you know that all of them are clean and safe, that they don't have fleas or things like that because you take care of them. Okay? Now, this is where it gets different. If you have a plural, there's more than one of those things. Girls like boys like cats. That means that you put the apostrophe after the S. But notice what it says here. Since plurals like girls, boys, cats already have an S, you don't have to add another S. So it would be the 3 girls notebook. So if the 3 girls are sharing that one notebook, you would just put an apostrophe at the end. You don't have to add another S. It's not the 3 girls' notebook. You don't have to add the S if your plural already has S. So again, we use these possessives to make sentences shorter and easier to understand. 3 ladies own the business. If you wrote that in a sentence, it's correct, it's fine, nothing wrong with it. But shorter, easier to understand, say the 3 ladies' business. Again, look at where they put that apostrophe. The business belongs to the 3 ladies. And look what's in front of the comma. Ladies. The pen belongs to the dogs. Again, look where they put the comma. Pen belongs to the dogs, and I can see that it's plural, more than one dog. The students own the computer, where the apostrophe is. The computer belongs to the students. So this is a computer that the students have to share. They don't have just their own computer to themselves. Some more examples. The ring belongs to the girl. Since the ring belongs to the girl, just one, just where they put the apostrophe. Ring belongs to the girl. If I look in front of that apostrophe, it just says girl, only one. So this is not a ring that she's sharing. Maybe it's special or it's very fancy, I don't know. The bike belongs to 3 boys. Okay, so this one, instead of belonging to one person, belongs to multiple. Maybe this is a bike that like 3 brothers have to share. So notice where they put the apostrophe. The bike belongs to boys. The boys' bike. One of the apostrophe I see, boys. The cooks own the kitchen. So again, this is not just one person that it belongs to, it's multiple people. Especially in something like a restaurant, it's very, very common that there's not just one person cooking. There's a lot of people because there's a lot of people that want food. And that's nice, Bella, but make sure we're staying focused on what we're doing here. So when I write this, notice where the apostrophe is. The cook's kitchen. Nothing belongs to the light, that example. Now, if you said Bella's lights, that would be possessive. The lights belong to you. Whatever you're putting the apostrophe S in or next to, that's what you're saying owns it. So you're saying that lights own something. Something belongs to lights. But nothing belongs to the lights belong to you. You'd have to say something like Bella's light, because the light belongs to. So kitchen would belong to the cooks, plural, more than one. The tools belong to dad. Again, here they only belong to one person. So look where they put the apostrophe. Who do the tools belong to? They belong to dad. Just dad. Okay, now this is where it can get a little bit tricky. Some plural words don't just have an S to them. So like man, when you have more than one man, you don't say mans, you would say men. Mouse, if there was more than one mouse, say mouses, would say mice. Child, if there's more than one child, you don't say childs, you say children. Now, the good thing about plurals like this, the ones that are irregular, that you don't just add an S to, is they actually make possessives a lot simpler. All you do is add the apostrophe S. So if it's an irregular plural, like men, like mice, like children, You don't have to worry about anything else. You just add the apostrophe S. No, Bella, again, you're trying to say that something belongs to the lights. What belongs to the lights? Remember, whatever word you're putting the apostrophe with, that's what you're saying they belong to. So you could say my mom's lights because the lights belong to who? My mom. Exactly. But don't put the apostrophe on what they own. The apostrophe goes with who they belong to or what they belong to. So again, with irregular plurals, it makes it a little bit simpler. You just add the apostrophe S. So if the cars belong to the men, you would just say the men's cars. The cheese belongs to the mice, you would just say the mice's cheese. Children own the toys, you would just say the children's toys. So kind of strange, but irregular plurals, even though they're a little bit trickier to use, they actually make possessives a lot easier. You just add apostrophe. That goes for any of these irregular plurals. Feathers belong to the geese's feathers. Tools belong to the men's tools. The people own the people's seats. Or the soccer ball belongs to the women's soccer ball. So if you have an irregular plural, like men, like mice, like children, geese, people or women, all you do to make them possessive is add apostrophe S. So remember that. Singular possessives, you add apostrophe S. The man's glove or Joe's hat. Those would be examples of singular possessives. Plural possessives, you add the apostrophe at the end. The 4 cats' toys. Since there are 4 of them, this plural means your apostrophe goes at the end. If it's an irregular plural, you add an apostrophe S. The men's. Almost, Bella, but remember, if you just have one mom, the apostrophe goes in front of the S. If you have more than one mom, then it would go after the S. So the apostrophe always tells you whether you're talking about plural or singular. So if it's MOM apostrophe S, that is one mom. MOMS apostrophe, more than one mom. You have to pay attention where you're putting the apostrophe. It does make a difference. Yeah, so you got to write that second time. Mom's a hot chocolate, or like Alexa's example, also work. So whenever you make a word possessive, you do have to be careful with the apostrophe, wherever you're putting